This is video number 1, an introduction to metaphor mapping. Metaphor mapping is an inclusive and engaging process to set and commit to strategies. It's a way of conducting meetings and workshops. I hope it'll also be inspirational to all of us in thinking about how we can use images in teaching our classes. Metaphor mapping overcomes a lot of the obstacles and limitations to effective collaboration. So one of the things it does is it ensures that we are addressing an end-to-end big picture. It also short circuits the no response. It moves discussion more to a yes and questioning format. And parochial thinking, which is, oh no, that sort of like opinion that new things won't work, or refusal to listen, is minimized in the process of metaphor mapping. It stimulates creative thinking, and it moves at a slow pace, not in a boring sense, but in the sense that it's kind of immune to people who want to get on a soapbox and make a long speech or sell a particular point of view. It doesn't allow the process to get hijacked by a single person trying to explain their position. It asks everyone to participate, and indeed, it forces everyone to participate and bring out their deepest wisdom, what's inside their inner thoughts about how things are and how they could be. It succeeds by bringing all stakeholders into an inclusive and positive workshop process. It builds a big picture on a single page, which is really important visually for the brain to relate to. It focuses conversation within the context of an end-to-end vision, and most fundamentally, it introduces metaphors and symbols to provoke ideas. So the reason people use metaphor mapping is to get a group excited and focused on change. So as we talked about already, talk is heavy. Metaphor mapping takes advantage of the old saying that a picture is worth 1,000 words. A well-chosen symbol clarifies in a blink what words will actually never end up clarifying. Words will often simply leave us all in a state of confusion. So we don't waste time on misunderstandings and clarifying misunderstandings and separating each other into the person who's speaking and has the ideas and the person who doesn't. Metaphor mapping frees your spirit and your creativity and allows us to take advantage of everyone's. So on this slide, which I'm not going to spend a lot of time on, slow down and look at it at your own speed if you'd like to. The 4 processes or 4 languages of metaphor mapping are displayed, along with some reasons on the left side for why we would use some additional reasons why we would use metaphor mapping. So we would start with village mapping, and that is taking a snapshot in time, at a moment in time, of everything that we know about a situation, everything that everyone knows from all the perspectives of all the stakeholders, and all the obstacles and opportunities that all those stakeholders perceive, and they all get represented on a single map. So I'm not going to go into the other 3 because they work on a similar principle, although they're not focused on that snapshot in time. They're focused on roles and attitudes, or creatively dealing with obstacles, or ensuring accountability. Yes, you see generals here putting stickers on a piece of paper, and they are really interested in it. And this is a peacekeeping process, I believe, in Bosnia-Herzegovina. So the physical form of metaphor mapping is these stickers that you see in this picture here. And that's what the generals are using. But there's a digital format that we'll probably be using. It works well in a workshop of 12 to 24 stakeholders. It can be expanded, but some modifications have to be made. That larger group is broken down into subgroups of 3 to 6, and each group will build the same map, obviously with different input because there are different members in the group, and then those maps will be combined, and there will be a feedback session, and then there will be a second set of maps that are developed. And that's a longer process than this video can discuss. Here's an example of the symbol dictionary for the village dictionary. So in the digital age, what metaphor mapping does is it maximizes the value of collaborative whiteboards. So it works really well on something like a Google Jamboard, where people are placing their symbols, creating a map together by copying and pasting from the symbol dictionary onto the collaborative whiteboard or Jamboard. It also works with any other collaborative whiteboard process. And you'll see on the Village Dictionary, we place the features of our situation and we place the problems. There's some symbols that aren't on here, the roads and so on, that indicate communication. And we also place our understanding of the overall context, the benefits, the rewards, where there's some resource for resiliency, and so on and so forth. So metaphor mapping brings fun to hard work. We get a lot more done and we have a lot more fun. Some of the reasons that work so well is that people are building something together. They're building an understanding. And when you build something, you feel a sense of ownership. Metaphor mapping is an excellent tool for assessing, for seeing things and being able to assess them right in front of you, for visioning, where do you want to get to, and then for planning out exactly how we're going to get there. And it allows everyone to contribute because of the simplicity of the visual language. It also brings in a sense of openness, and of course, as I mentioned, engagement and creativity or fresh thinking. So here are just some symbols of organizations, companies, and nations that have used, governments that have used metaphor mapping. And this is Larry Raymond, who has volunteered to work with us, and I hope that we'll be able to take advantage of that offer. And he's the developer of metaphor mapping. He actually developed it while he was organizing a peace conference in Sri Lanka when they had a civil war, and he realized that the people in the room were not listening to each other, they were just talking. And so he created this format in which people could communicate and build understandings together and not just talk at cross purposes. And then from there, he developed metaphor mapping. So thanks a lot. I hope this has been informative and inspirational to you. And I hope that we will take advantage of Larry's offer and use metaphor mapping in the processes that we are engaged in at Williams Prep.